Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. It's no secret I love death metal. Returning with their first album since Pinnacle of Bedlam. It's been quite a long time since they were last in the studio. They recently announced that their brand new album would be titled Of the Dark Light. It is, of course, Suffocation. So, Suffocation are back. It's pretty much responsible for a lot of the 90s classic death metal. I mean, you got Pierced from Within, Human Waste, Souls Deny, Effigy of the Forgotten, like the list goes on. For those who don't know Suffocation, they're kind of characterized by this sort of like so it's kind of like mid-paced, fast, but sort of not really super fast. You know, they're kind of like really iron kind of clad riffs, which are really heavy, but because the drumming is so kind of frenetic, there's a lot of stops and starts, which kind of doesn't really have the same sort of speed as what you would kind of associate death metal with. It's made up of Terence Hobbs on guitar, the guitarist Charles Arrigo, the longtime bass player is a guy called Derek Boyer, who also writes the lyrics. Frank Mullen is like one of the best death metal singers ever. Kevin Muller. So he's also been somewhat with the band because Frank Mullen has to stay home, so he doesn't go on tour. So this Kevin guy has brought his vocal talents to the album, and he delivers an absolutely stellar job. I mean, it's hard to differentiate between Frank and Kevin. They sound so kind of like It's Suffocation doing Suffocation, definitely. I mean, I would imagine that longtime fans will kind of see an exploring in kind of like melody. There's lots and lots of really kind of thick and fast solos, but they're always kind of anchored with this groove, which is kind of da 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 da, which is synonymous with Suffocation, especially the later sort of stuff. Your Last Breath is really great. It was a great song for them to choose to put out because it kind of gives you the overall feel of the album. Lyrically, the album is kind of in the idea of the transcending in death, so death being a transcendental kind of idea, which is kind of cool. And it kind of gives a bit more of a mature kind of take on things, which I like. Not to be confused with the Flesh God Apocalypse track, The Violation, which is probably the most melodic track on the album. But this is where I kind of see a bit more of experimentation, where they're kind of looking for melody and sort of understanding how to use it. Again, there's a really great solo which kind of comes in super fast, like, and the drumming is absolutely brilliant with Eric Morotti on drums, who has taken over. I don't know what happened to Kevin Talley, but he was in the studio demoing stuff, and I don't know, but he's gone. But it's a pretty large seat to fill. But yeah, the two kind of really work together with Boyer's bass lines and also Terence Hobbs' signature kind of arachnid kind of tremolo kind of guitar riffs. I've got a strong belief that some of the best albums ever written are always 8 tracks long, and Of the Dark Light is 8 tracks with an extra, like a revamping of Epitaph of the Credulous, which sounds great. I mean, it's kind of cool because it sounds like it could fit in here, but you also understand just how essential it was when the band were writing it. So overall, it's a solid death metal album. I would say that you can't really fault it. If you're not a fan of death metal, then you probably won't like it as much. It's got some slammy sort of bits in it, but overall, there's a bit more emphasis on melody, a serious amount of groove on the album, definitely. Groovy. Although there are elements where the songs can kind of blend into each other, but if you really listen to it, you can differentiate the songs. And the album's quite short, actually, I remember. I remember thinking, oh geez, after all this time.
Always.
But it doesn't matter, because the quality is there. And when the quality is there, it doesn't matter. Fans of Suffocation will like froth at the mouth for it. Hopefully it will bring a new generation of death metal fans over to the dark side. If you liked what I've been chatting about, please give me a like. I've also got the subscribe button, which is just below the video, and I will see you for the next review.